So this is the brand new Spangled Brewing Company brewery here. We are a 10-barrel brewery with a 20-barrel capacity, meaning that we have fermenters from 7 to 10, 15, and all the way up to 20 barrels of beer that we can brew at one time. They're all independently glycol chilled and temperature regulated. I really wanted to make it a focal point of Clarksville, so people come down here, they remember. I really want to put Clarksville on the map for craft beer, and I think we have a good possibility of doing that here with the brewery, all the way from the logo inset into the floor to the Lack Fear Not Beer mural that's painted on the back side of the fermenters with our custom house on there. It was a family friend, actually, Mr. Fleming. Painted that for me. He did it in 2 days. He does the paintings on the side of the buildings downtown Nashville. He does Tootsies, Rippies, and things like that. So he came down here and painted this for me. I knew I wanted an American flag. I knew I wanted to keep it patriotic, and I wanted to pay respect to the city and have our customs house up there.
Why customs house?
It's such a focal point. Whenever you Google or anybody looks up Clarksville, Tennessee, first thing that's going to pop up is the Customs House. It's a museum. It's an anchor point to the city. It has our history and our heritage inside of there. And I think it's important to share that, or when visitors come to Spangled Brewing Company, they're able to see that that is a focal point to the city. Well, right now we're just starting up, so we're distributing locally only. But my purpose for building up to a 20-barrel brewery, so I want to take over Tennessee with Spangled Brewing Company. When people come to Tennessee, I want them to know Spangled Brewing Company. And I have plenty of room in this 8,000 square foot facility to expand in the future and continue to grow, continue to put Clarksville on the map for great craft. Yeah, sure, this is going to be our barrel aging room. So we got our name, Sake Beer, which is our Winchester. It's our bourbon ale. That's what put me on the map, home brewing, and that's the beer that built the brewery for me. I would sell it out of the back of my trucks on the weekend, or the back of my pickup truck on the weekend, home brewing just to make enough money to pay rent on the first place or open up the first place I had. So the Winchester beer is the beer that built this place, and our very first brew in this brewery was the Winchester beer, and we're barrel aging part of the very first Winchester brew in some top shelf bourbon barrels. We have a Blanton's barrel, we have a Weller's barrel, and then a Buffalo Trace barrel.
Wonderful.
So we're going to probably keep those and do like limited releases with those barrels. These are barrels yet to be filled. We have some pretty creative ideas, maybe barrel aging, some lighter beers, not historically, or something you would think would be normally barrel aged. But this whole room right here is going to be dedicated to barrel aging, and as you see, we've got some room to fill up. Well, this is the brew system right here. This is stout tanks and kettles. We try to keep everything still 100% made in the USA. This is the control panel. There's a huge control panel right between these two tanks there. Again, that's made from brewmation. That's made upstate New York, all hand wired. It's beautiful. Really, I think that's a brew area in a nutshell. I think it's great for craft beer because we're able to have our own unique style in Tennessee. The West Coast is saturated. You hear West Coast IPA, you hear California, Oregon, Washington State. All the hops are grown there. Conversely, the East Coast is already saturated with all the hazy IPAs and their own beer. I think the South is the last to actually grab a hold and take off with the craft beer. We're actually working on an IPA recipe that we're going to try and really establish as a Southern IPA, which is it's different from a West Coast or East Coast. More to follow on that, but I think that's why the South is such a great place for craft beer. Really, it's just two guys here, myself and my brewer Alan, brewing on a smaller scale. That's our craft. That's what we do.
Wonderful.
This is Alan Duvall here. He's the head brewer here at Spangled Brewing Company for about the last year and change.
Yeah.
And so he came on at the tap room when I was doing a 3-barrel, little over, probably under 100 gallons at a time. He came on and started working for Spangled then. And, you know, from that point on, we moved up to almost triple what we were doing at the other location there. So it's been a lot on Alan to really refine and produce recipes that are scalable from a smaller batch to a huge batch. But he's got a long history of home brewing and long history now. This is the past year and a half of doing great beers for Spangled.
How's it been in this new building? Getting things going.
I love the room. I love the whole atmosphere. I like because I've got my own area, so we don't have to rush and try to get things done before we open up. Try to get cleaned up, So I'm loving it so far.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I'd like to get it open the beginning of summertime. So we're finishing out the tap room right now. We'll have probably 10 or 12 taps up there of local beers. But for us, the sooner the better. Obviously, it's just getting it done.